Yeah. 3, 2. Coming in. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2, pull. 2, 3, 2. Come on, go. 2, 3, 2. Slip. 1, 2.
All right, bienvenido a Desde Cero. Welcome to Right From the Start. On today's podcast, we have a longtime friend and somebody very special to the community. And today on the podcast, we have Mr. Bobby Powers. Bobby, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, man.
I've been trying to get you on this podcast since the beginning,
since day one. Day one.
We finally got you in here because you and me have a long story, man. We
yes,
have a long time of knowing each other and
training under you and everything,
and helping each other out and all that. And I'm glad I have you on the podcast so we can talk about all the stuff you got going on.
Yes, sir. Most definitely.
But we want to get to right from the start. You know, where's Bobby Powers from?
Bobby Powers is from good old Waller, Texas.
Texas.
Waller, Texas, about an hour drive from here. Grew up there. Well, we moved there when I was in first grade. Grew up there, graduated there, went on to college and went on to A&M, and now I'm here. So It all started at Waller.
Well, tell me about your parents and your siblings.
Parents and siblings. So I got 3 younger brothers. There's there's John Jay, Tyler, and Andrew. And they're all up here besides John Jay. John Jay's down there he lives in Magnolia. And then my dad's no longer with us, but my mom, she lives in Waller as well. So we grew up real small house, 3-bedroom house, 1 bath, 4 boys, running around crazy, driving my mom nuts. My dad worked all hours. And if we weren't running around playing flag football or trying to play tackle football, we're out there trying to fight, trying to fight. And my dad knew that I wasn't going to be, I said, hey, I want to play football. I want to do basketball. And he kind of looked at me and said, son, I'm only 5'7", So I don't know about football or basketball. So we went down to a local kung fu school up in Magnolia. And I went in there the first day that I was there. There's this girl there. And we're all running around before class got started. And she kicked me right in my groin, bro. And I've never cried so hard. I cried and cried. I left there and I went home and I told my dad and all that. And he said, well, you got 2 things, man. You either quit or you go back. Right. So I showed up the next day and I looked that girl in her eyes and said, we're about to spar, So it's about to get real. I'm about to learn everything. And that's when it all started.
How old were you when you first started?
I want to say I was 8.
8 years old.
I was 8 years old.
Karate class, right?
Kung fu,
Kung fu karate class.
Kung fu karate.
It's like
martial arts.
Where all the little kids kind of start off on, right?
Yeah. Right, basics, the discipline and all that is where I came from.
So how was life growing up in Waller?
It's a country town, Everyone knew everybody. Like I said, my brothers, me and John Jay were 2 years apart, and then me and Andrew, the youngest one, were 10 years apart. So when growing up, it was me, John Jay, and John Jay, the local boys. We all hung out together. We played in the woods. We ran to the pool, got in trouble together, fished together. Man, we did all. It's a little small town, not like it is now.
Are you the oldest of all?
Yeah, the oldest one.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. What about middle school and high school?
Middle school, so I was in 8th grade playing the football, and I went to get my physical, and back then you'd line up outside the locker room, and the coach would take down your weight and everything like that. And I'll never forget the 8th grade coach, the football coach at that time for B team, so I was on B team, I wasn't on A team. As we're weighing and stuff, he said, Powers, 93 pounds. And I was in 8th grade, He said, man, you need to try out for the wrestling team. And I was like, wrestling team? So I went to go practice with them starting April of that year. And then the summer I practiced with them as well. And then going into my freshman year, I figured out, hey, they actually have weight classes. So I was like, man, maybe I can make a run at this. And I was still back then it was a 103-pound weight class. So I weighed 94, 95 pounds. Didn't have to worry about cutting weight. And my freshman year, I went 2-30. I beat the same guy twice. and lost every other match. But I didn't care because I was like, man, I'm on varsity. I'm getting my Letterman jacket. I thought I was the cream of the crop, man. I was like, dude, this is legit. And then once I got humbled and got my butt whooped a pretty good amount of times, then I started taking it more serious. Came back my sophomore year. I still wrestled at 103, and I was at like 110 pounds. So I started cutting the weight to get to 103. Made it to district, made it to regionals. Came back my junior year. I was a captain, senior captain, and that's when it was all there, just all wrestle, man. I fell in love with it.
During that wrestling experience, were you still taking karate, martial arts?
Yeah. So during
I'm saying karate. I'm saying martial arts.
Martial arts. So during the wrestling era in high school, I went from kung fu to taekwondo, and the taekwondo gym was in Tomball, and the guy that was my instructor was Josh Arcermont, which he actually has a gym now in Tomball, Hero Martial Arts, real known traditional guy. Now he's coming more into the modern MMA type of it or whatnot like that. So I was still training little by little with it. Not as intense as I was because of the wrestling, you know.
Did you do all 4 years in high school wrestling?
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
And how did it end up at the end?
How did it end up? So back then there was only 6A for the wrestling. So, 5A back then. So there was not like, now you have 5A and 6A and have all these other different ones, but it was just one. So I made it as an alternate to the state tournament, but I didn't get to compete at state because you had teams, KD Taylor, KD High, the Woodlands was a dominant wrecking crew as well. So it's just making it to the regional level was something special to me.
It was already difficult.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Big time.
What did you learn most about wrestling?
Wrestling, once you wrestle, everything in life's easy. Because if you shoot on someone to take them down, you get your 2 points. If they shoot on you and you sprawl, you take the back, you still get your 2 points. So no matter what obstacle that you face in life, you can always counterattack it, you know? That's what I tell everyone, man. Once you wrestle, everything in life is so easy because the wrestling's so intense, the workouts, everything, you know, the cutting weight, the discipline, man, all of it right there. It's just, it builds a character up in you big time.
So after you graduate, what was your plans?
After I graduated, man, I'm trying to think, what do they call those?
What year did you graduate?
I graduated 2003. Graduated 2003. I went to Blenheim Brenham, went there 2004, and as a kinesiology class, I took a cardio kickboxing class. So I took the cardio kickboxing class, and I was doing everything else. And then they had a little martial arts school up there at the time. So I went up there, I signed up there, and that's when I started doing like the American kickboxing, the Krav Maga, which is the self-defense and all that. And the instructor there, she latched on to me because she's like, man, I can tell that you love this. I can tell you have a passion for it. So she hired me. So I got hired there at Sidekicks Martial Arts in Brenham, cleaning the bathrooms. I was cleaning the bathrooms, mopping the mats and all that. And then I started teaching a little bit of the kids' classes going from there. And then I started teaching the adults. And it was just nonstop from there, man.
Is that where you found the love for teaching
That's
martial
where,
arts?
man, the first couple of classes that I talk about love, it's almost like a love-hate relationship because the adults are like, man, I've been here longer than this dude. And now he's over trying to teach me. So that couple, 2 or 3 months of trying to get used to it was the biggest transition I think that I've ever faced as an instructor, you know, because I went from being their training partner to now their instructor. So it's like, man, I'm not going to listen to you, bro.
It was an ego thing.
Yeah. Big time. And I mean, I was 21 back then too. So I thought I was going to the UFC. I was like, man, I'm going to UFC, bro. You know, so it's making that transition to the adults was the hardest. But when it came to the kids, bro, I loved it, man. I loved it because I could think that my instructor, one of my first instructors, he latched onto me and tried to build me up because he knew that I was getting bullied maybe or because he knew that I was 90 pounds, you know, little kid, you know. So he knew that he was going to try to help me be the best that I could be. So now when I get kids that come into me, I try my best to make them the best they could be,
Right.
you know.
So during your blend days, you were instructor the whole time,
Man.
and aside you trained as well, right?
Yeah, I trained. I trained, and I instructed. So we had like the karate class, we had kickboxing class, and then we had the Krav Maga class. So I taught all that right there, and then my last year at Blinn, I started filling in at the college teaching for the cardio kickboxing class. So I was filling in that right there. So I was kind of doing a little bit of everything.
Right. Did you end up finishing blend?
No.
Did you
Didn't
come
end
to
up.
A&M?
Yeah.
Okay. What year was that?
Came to A&M. 07.
07.
07. So
Is that what brought you to Bryan College Station?
yeah.
Okay.
Was the training. Well, we opened up a gym here, and well, she opened up a gym here up in College Station. I moved up here to teach it. Right. And then that's when I was doing all my application process and everything like that to get up into Texas A&M.
Okay.
And then I was accepted and all that, so it was just boom, going forward
And the
from
gym
there.
here was also called Sidekicks,
Yeah,
right?
Sidekicks Martial Arts.
I
Yeah,
remember that.
yeah, they're right off of Wellborn.
That gym, right? I remember. I think I went by there. I don't know for what reason, but I went by there. I think that y'all were selling some kind of equipment or something.
Yeah, it's
But I remember Sidekicks. And
yeah.
how long did you teach at Sidekicks?
I was at Sidekicks from 07. Well, no. I'm sorry, 04 in Brennan. So from 04 to 2009, I was at Sidekicks.
Okay.
You know, I was at Sidekicks right there doing it all. And I'll never forget that day either. But so me and my instructor, we kind of had a falling out, you know. It was kind of a falling out. And her instructor was down there at the time. And she went to the bathroom. And her instructor looked me in the eyes and said, hey, if you feel like you need to do this on your own, you have all the skills, all the knowledge, the passion, and the dedication to go out and do this on your own. And man, when it comes to loyalty, bro, man, it's I'm probably as loyal as they can come. But it just got to a point where it's like, man, I couldn't do it no more.
Sometimes it's just time to move on.
Yeah,
man.
sometimes it's just time to move on.
And people will let you know, you know what, it's time to move on.
Yeah, it's time to move on. Yep, you're right there.
If I remember correctly, is this when you went to Wendy?
So before Wendy, I left that gym, went home that day whenever we had the falling out deal, man. I was up in my duplex saying, man, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I was worried about teaching, making money, all that. And then I had a knock on the door. I opened the door, and there's 5 guys right there that I trained. Christy Kester, Brett, Joe.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember Christy.
All there. They're like, Coach, you're our coach. We don't know the other lady.
Right.
You're the one that's our coach. So I started training him right there up in my living room. And then we went from there to, I'll never forget that either, UKA. So I went over to UK to check it out whenever it was on a fin feather.
Right. It was Daryl.
Yeah. Daryl, man.
Right.
I'll tell you
that was a
what,
fun guy, wasn't it?
Yeah, man. Oh, man. I brought my girlfriend, but now she's my wife now up there, and she's like, Bobby, what do you do? This is nuts. You know, it's almost like a fight club.
Right.
So I was there, changed the whole gym around, decorated, helped him out as much as I could. But then I was at the point where I was like, man, I can't grow here, you know? And that's when I went into partners with Wendy whenever they were at Rock Prairie.
Rock Prairie. I remember that.
Right there.
I remember that. I remember that because when I was coaching with Joe, Wendy also came up to us and said if we wanted to start a boxing club there.
Yeah.
And you know, it just never happened. But Wendy's been there, you know, quite a while as well, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right. What did it feel like when they knocked on your door and said, "Hey, you're our coach"? Did that give you that confidence to
that's
move
when I was
on
like,
to that next step?
That's when I was like, man, it's these guys are dependent on me, relying on me, and it's like this is what I was made to do, was to coach, you know, and that's all the confidence that I needed to get to that level where I was like, you know what, I can do this, you know. No doubt up in my mind. After that, I was like, I'm just going forward. You know.
Yeah, I asked that because I had that same experience when I opened up Longoria Boxing Club. You know, the main reason I opened my boxing club was to coach two guys.
Yeah.
And the day that I opened up the club, like everybody showed up.
Everyone showed up. It's like,
Everybody
boom.
showed up. It was like, oh man, what's going on?
Right.
You
That's
know,
right there.
and it gave me that confidence to say, hey, maybe I am doing the right
Yeah.
choice, right?
Exactly.
Right. How long were you there at that location?
At
You say you started at Wendy first, or
No,
was
so-
at Finfeather?
No,
At the-
Finfeather,
at-
yeah.
at the
So I was
United Combat
yeah,
Academy,
United
right?
Combat Academy. I was there, I want to say, maybe a good 5 to 6 months, you know, maybe a little bit longer. And I was doing everything that I could do. And I'm not knocking, I don't like to talk bad about nobody.
Right.
You know, but everyone has their own personality, and I love those guys to death, you know. But it's just I couldn't grow there, you know, and that's where I met Giovanni.
Okay.
Giovanni was there training. Giovanni, I think he was getting ready for a fight, and I don't think he knew anything about fighting. He was just out there ready to fight, you know, and there was a character alone, but like I said, he opened up his doors to me, so I'm grateful for that opportunity. I see him every once in a while, man. We kind of wave to each other or whatnot, but then we went over to Wendy, you know.
Right.
So I was right there.
When do you start competing
So
at MMA?
yeah, so I started competing when I was at Sidekicks. I competed there as an amateur. They had fights over at Huntsville at the Jolly Fox. So that was my first MMA fight there, and I was under Sidekicks, and that's when I ran into Chad Robo and Gracie Baja at the Woodlands. So they started having me come over there, training over there and all that. So as an amateur, I was there. Then I went to 4 Ounce in Houston, and that's where I was trained ever since, right there, because that's where Daniel Pineda was. And then we went to high school together.
Right.
We wrestled together and all
Because
that.
you trained here, and then you guys would go to what's it called, 4 Ounce?
Yeah, 4 Ounce,
Right?
yes, sir.
And
yeah.
you kind of team
So I
up.
would train, yeah. So
Right.
we trained up here, and then we would go down to 4 Ounce 2 to 3 times out the week to train, and it's just driving back and forth. So when I was training, I'd be so tired, but when I would come back, I'd be like, man, I got these guys that are relying on me right now to train them,
Right.
and I can't even walk up the stairs. You know,
You have to come
I'm so
back and
tired.
be coach.
Yeah,
right?
exactly,
You have to come back
exactly.
and be Coach Bobby Powers.
Coach Bobby Powers, and I'm like, man, I just want to go home and go to bed. You know.
Right.
Because you're doing all that training and all that. But that's when I realized when I had a Christy Kester that I was a better coach than a fighter, you know. But I still wanted to have that fight. I still felt like I had it in me to compete still, you know.
How many years did you compete?
I competed from 2008 to 2012. I think 2012 was my last fight that I took, you know, as a pro. And after that, I was just, man, I'm done, you know.
Well, while you being Coach Bobby Powers, you also had a job. You also have a job.
Yeah, I still have a
right?
job. Yep.
Was it were you a bounty hunter or
Brazos Valley Bail Bonds. Brazos Valley Bail Bonds, man.
How'd you end up with the Brazos Valley Bail
Bail
Bonds
bonds,
and picking up people?
Yeah, so
And that experience,
yeah.
right?
So my boss at the time was Robert Olson. Well, he still is my boss. We're kind of like partners now, but he was working out at the Psychics martial arts place, and when it all went down and when I left, he's like, "Man, I'm going with you." Well, during that time, he asked me over a Christmas break. He's like, "Hey, man, are you looking to make some extra money?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, I'm always looking to make extra money." So I went up there. I started working like 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. Just working at the office and getting people out of jail or whatnot like that. And just you always think that your life is bad until you see someone else's life, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm over tripping about this, and they're coming in and they're in jail or maybe this or that problem. And I'm like, man, my life's pretty good, bro.
Yeah.
You know? So I started doing it, and I'm doing it still. So there's never a dull moment there because everyone's always innocent, which they might be, That's the first thing I get him out of jail. I'm innocent. I'm like, bro, I'm not the judge, you know? I'm just trying to help you out. So I started doing that, and Robbie was real cool and real flexible with my gym schedule and all that, and ever since then I still work there.
He sponsored a couple of our events as well.
Yeah,
so
uh-huh.
I want to thank him for always helping out and,
Yes,
and
sir.
always, you bringing waters to the club.
Yeah, waters to the club right there.
The bail out waters.
Bail out waters, man. We're still doing it, man. We still take waters all around town.
Yeah,
you know,
that's something special.
Yes, sir.
I'm pretty sure everybody appreciates that.
Yeah.
So tell me about your. Did you have to go find people?
We have before. So
how's that work?
People think about bounty hunting, and they're like, "Oh, dog, the bounty hunting,
Yeah,
dog."
that's what I
Roughing them up, throwing them up against the house and stuff, punching them. No, it's nothing like
big
that.
sprays. And,
Yeah. What we do is kind of like. My theory is like everyone's always going to get caught eventually. They're going to get caught. Either it's through a traffic stop if they're wanted or whatnot. But I think my best thing of catching people or finding people is social media, man. Facebook, big time. Because they might not be on Facebook, but their girlfriends are, oh, my baby come to see me this weekend. He's coming over here. We're going to celebrate my birthday. So if that person's wondering, well, hey,
he's right there.
Go where his girlfriend is, So we've caught... I've caught a couple of people, not like catch them, but if I can lay eyes on them or whatnot and know where they're at, then usually we can call the constables or whatnot like that, and then they can, if they have an officer that's free or whatever, then they'll come over there to kind of check them out,
Yeah, what's the weirdest experience you had on
man, weirdest experience I had was, I guess I want to keep it real. My first bad bond, no bond is better than a bad bond, So my first bad bond was this girl. I bonded out late at night, I thought that I was like, yeah, I got this girl out, Boyfriend comes, picks her up. They're out up in the parking lot. Don't know what they're doing, but they're still out in front of my office for like an hour. Mm-hmm. Then I go home, and that next morning, Robbie calls me like at 7:30, bro, why'd you get this girl out? Supposedly she has all these other charges that were fixing to come up on her, big time flight risk, all kinds of crazy stuff. So I get dressed real fast, man. I run up to the office, man. We jump in the Tahoe and we go to hunting her, like trying to find her right there because the address that she gave me was a fake address. Mm-hmm. Address that she gave the jail, she lived there like 3 years ago, so she ain't there no more. So just hunting her down and finding her, but hunting, looking around, and then we finally found her. I want to say she was at the Dairy Queen off Texas Avenue, right there, just outside, just hanging out, man. We're driving by, we look, there she goes right there. Got her right there and stuff, and she knew that she wasn't supposed to be out, but at that time, I was just getting started,
You were happy you did
I was
the
happy
job.
I got a bond, exactly.
Exactly.
So that was my first one that taught me to do my homework before I do bonds now, like make sure you're getting the right person out or make sure they're not a flight risk or anything like that.
And you're still there? You're still working for them?
I work there Monday, Wednesday, Fridays from like 2 to 10. Okay. I go in just part-time now.
Yeah, if you guys get arrested, hit
Brass
Bobby.
Valve Bail Bonds, I got you.
I think you get a free T-shirt if you get
free
bailed out.
T-shirt, free water. Got you. Cup and
get arrested,
koozie.
call Bobby Powers.
Brass Valve Bail Bonds, I got you. We'll get you out, all right?
Yeah, that's right, man.
Yes, sir.
So when do you went to Wendy's after United Combat Academy, right?
Yes, sir.
What do you do there as far as coaching or training more?
When I went to Wendy, I was still training currently with a
you
4
get some
ounce.
water.
Yeah,
Come on, man.
I was still training with 4 ounce. But Jermaine, we were roommates, so we met each other at the Brennan. We both worked at Sidekicks. He left before me, and he's the one that initially opened up Wendy.
Right.
Wendy, and at that time he was just teaching the Muay Thai, Mm-hmm. So that building over there, I want to say rent was like maybe $6,000 a month. So when I went in there with partners with him and whatnot, I was like, bro, there's no way we can make it because we can have all these students paying this much, but still, we're not going to be able to pay the lights, you know? And the thing that helped us out there was the Scott and White was just fixing to break ground. So we go to Wendy. I started teaching the MMA portion. I started teaching the kids classes or whatnot, and then a cardio kickboxing class. So I was teaching that there, but also training there also. You know, training when I could get my training in, but I wasn't training effectively like every day, you know. But I was doing what I could do during the time. And whenever the Scott and White opened up, the landlord was like, "Hey, we want to build a medical supply house where they sell the scrubs, I guess, and stuff like
and all that for nurses, doctors.
Yep. So it worked out perfect, and then that's when we found where Wendy's at now. You know, which the rent went from here to here. You know, and now we could really.
Right, well,
be
Mr.
able
Craig
to afford
Lewis,
it. Yeah.
right? Mr.
Oh
Craig.
man, Miss Craig. Yeah. He's a good guy.
He's my former boss.
He's good. Yeah.
He's a real nice guy.
Okay. You're not working there no more? Or?
No, I left. Went back to engineering. So,
There you go. Heck yeah.
How to do that?
Yeah, no, I got you. Yeah. So we opened up that one right there, and then we've been there ever since.
Right.
Ever since. But and at that time, I was trying to train up in the mornings, drive to 4 Ounce, come back, then open up the gym and run the gymmers like that right there.
How has coaching been to you? How's that changed your life? Or,
Coach, so and you know this too. So I'm a coach, and I feel like I'm a counselor, and I feel like I'm a daycare director. You know,
all in one.
All in one. So I go to my daughter's daycare, and their program director, whatever, she's like, "Oh, we're just having a bad day. You know, these kids are crazy." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, picture having a daycare full of adults." You know, but I wouldn't trade it for nothing. You know, the coaching, being able to change, and you know, man, the fighters are probably one of the most not self-centered people, but they have like their own way. You know, a fighter wants to do his own thing, and he thinks that he's always right. So as a coach, it's like our job to like try to guide them and mentor them to be the best they can be, but then also say, "Hey, you're not right in this situation. Let me tell you the way that I see it." You know, and coaching the adults, and when we first got started, it's like they had me up on the same page as them because we were all young. You know. But now with the newer guys that I have now, it's like they see more as a coach. Yeah. They see me, man. You see all this white and gray hair right here. You know, once they see that, they're like, "Man, this guy has some experience." You know, but they look at me as a coach, like, "Yes, sir. No, sir." You know, if I tell them to go run, they'll go run. Or if I tell them to do push-ups, they'll go do push-ups and stuff. But back in the day, if I would say that, the guys would kind of take it as a joke because they're like, "Man, that's just Bobby." You know, and that's with them. And it's fighting's one thing, but it's like changing someone's life is what it's like really all about. You know, if I could keep a kid off the streets, or if I can keep a guy from thinking crazy thoughts, or trying to help out anyone, we're master motivators. You know, we're master motivating them, man, to be the best.
You were always, if I remember correctly, you were always looking to learn because you would jump in my boxing classes as well.
At Coulter, yeah. What, was that Coulter? Was it Coulter Field?
Yeah, it was over there by Coulter Field.
Man, what was those two? Now that you brought that up, what was those two? I don't want to say Mexican boys, but
well, they are Mexican.
The brothers, yeah, they are Mexican.
Juan and Kiwi.
Yeah, man, them dudes, man.
They were your height, your weight.
Golly, way faster than me, man. I went home and told my wife, I was like, "I ain't never been hit like that." You know, them boys were fast, man. They were, but
yeah, them boys won some good fights.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did. They were, man.
Fights, yeah.
You've had the top boxers, I think, in Bryan, I think, just coming up and coming with it, whatnot. But I was always eager to learn because I felt like the learning should never end.
Right.
You know, I was like an open book. Some people are a closed book where they just want to do this and have it this way, but they never want to go outside that box to learn something different. Well, I was like, hey, anything's better than nothing, and I'm going to use every resource that I have to improve everything I got.
Right.
You know.
That was my my thing about going to spar other clubs,
Yeah.
especially like in Houston, Austin, San Antonio. It's like, we're here to spar, but I'm also here to learn different styles.
Yeah. Exactly.
I like to look at the coaches and when we're sparring and on the side they're training, I'm listening to what they're saying.
Exactly.
Because everybody's got something a little different that's going to help you out.
Yep.
And I learned a lot from just watching other coaches from other places.
Yeah.
As well. So it's very important to pay attention as a coach.
Oh yeah.
It's very important to pay attention, and you'll get an extra couple of wins by just listening.
Exactly. Just listening and paying attention like that, man. You can open up so much. It can improve your coaching game big time.
Right.
I'll sit there and watch fights, and my guy might not even be fighting,
Right.
but I'll sit there just to watch the coach, just see how the coach interacts or see what he does during the rounds and stuff like that. Because man, you can pick up anything.
Yeah. And there's those coaches who think they know everything, and
Yep. Yeah, they're out there. They're out there, man.
It shows up at the end, man.
Yep. Always does, man. It'll always show up.
At the end.
Yep.
Man, well, let's talk about Wendy. Let's
Okay.
talk about Wendy Sports and Fitness.
Wendy Sport and Fitness, man.
Where is it located?
We're located off Highway 30. Address is 12700 Suite 201, Highway 30, right next to the Union First building right there, the same parking lot right there.
In College Station, Texas.
In College Station, Texas, across from the Smitty K's, almost across from the Smitty K's. Wendy was, whenever we got Wendy, Jermaine's ideal was to have one roof with everything under that roof, So that was our goal. And then I took that goal, and little by little, the plans started to fill up in place. Like when Lingorian Boxing Club came over, when y'all were over at a Wendy, that was probably the best blessing on my part, because I said, hey, I might not know anything about boxing, but Coach Longoria does. Go talk to Coach Longoria, And it's just having it all under one roof is what we wanted to do with it, So we have right now we have multiple programs, but the most important one I think are youth programs. Youth martial arts, because kids are getting bullied. The kids are coming no confidence. Maybe they don't have a father figure. Maybe they don't know how to interact with other kids. So I get kids like that come to me every day, man. Right. Every day.
Have you noticed that there's more kids like that?
Yep. There's more. And I blame it on the video games, man. Mm-hmm. But there's more kids like that are coming in that lack confidence, worried about bullies, no father figure. Then, of course, you have the kids that are, they're just trying to learn something, or their parents did some sort of martial arts when they were younger, so they want their kids to do that. But those are the kids that I want, and they're like, well, my kid lacks the hand and eye coordination, or his head's always down and stuff. Would he be able to train? Yeah, bring him. And that's my biggest problem, because I can't turn nobody away.
I tried that.
Right. I can't, man.
I tried that.
I can't turn no one away, man.
Yeah. When I asked you to see if I can go to your club or you use your building, the first thing I said is, look, I'm just going to have 10 guys train, build them up, be champions. And
I remember that conversation.
And somebody walk in and, yeah, come on in. I can take a couple more.
Come on, yep.
And next thing you know, there's 40 people in there, and it's
40 people running around. Yeah, it's like, yeah.
You can't as coaches, you can't just
turn them away, man. You can't. It's we got that coach gene, I guess. It's like, man, I can't turn away. So now I'm teaching 3 and 5-year-olds, which is driving me crazy, because it's I run around, Mr. Bobby. They ain't listening. But I feel like if I can have one kid out of 10 kids throw a punch right, or if I can improve them somehow, then it's way worth it. Mm-hmm. But it's driving me crazy, man. Then you got my daughter; she ain't listening. So she running around. She don't want to listen to me.
Tell me about the programs.
Yeah.
At Wendy. What are your programs?
So my programs are, so I teach private lessons, so I'm personal training people. We have a homeschool martial arts program that comes in once a week, Tuesdays at 11:30, and we work with them for an hour just on the martial arts, self-defense, and all that. I'm teaching the Little Ninjas classes, which is ages 3 and 5-year-olds, and then we got youth martial arts, which is 7 to 11-year-olds. Then I got teen MMA, which is 12 to 14, 15, and then I have my adult MMA class. So
and those are different days, different hours.
Tuesday, Thursday, I get up there. The first class starts at 4:30. The last class is over at 8:30. So I'm up there doing Little Ninjas, youth martial arts, teen MMA, and I go right into adult MMA.
What's your favorite to coach? What gets you going? What fires you up?
Probably the youth martial arts. Right. Youth martial arts, because I know that I'm really making a difference. Right. I know that I'm really, like, the kids are talking to me. They're at attention stance. The parents are watching me teach or whatnot like that. So whenever I get a lot of kids in there that don't, a lot of kids that come in maybe for the first time, I'm on cloud 9, man. Just making sure I'm covering everything from.
All right, they're at that age where they behave and they're able to learn.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Some days, yeah. So the little ones, they don't know no better. And I guess you're right, yeah. They are at that age where, like, if they look back and if they're not listening to me, but they look at their mom's like, boy, then they kind of know, hey, I need to listen right now, So that's probably my favorite class right there.
Yeah. And tell me about the wrestling program, because that's a very special program up there.
Yeah.
With DJ, right?
Yes, sir. So Coach DJ. So, like I said, so I come from a wrestling background, of course. But whenever COVID was in effect, DJ couldn't have the wrestlers up there at
the high school.
Bryan High, yeah, because they were closed. So DJ came and talked to me one day. I showed him the spot that we have. And in my eyes, I was like, I'm going to do whatever I got to do to get Coach DJ here, to get the wrestling program here, because I knew eventually I was going to have kids, and I knew that I would want my daughter to wrestle or my son to wrestle, whatever I was going to have, So I was going to do whatever I had to do to help them get there. So he came in, he checked it out. We had an awesome agreement with him helping me cover the rent, and that way just worked out better. And the energy there just filled up big time with the kids coming in. They're wearing their wrestling shoes. They got their wrestling singlets on. And that's something that I remember when I was in high school, having that feeling, And the girl team, man, the girls are awesome up there. And the girls are awesome. The guys are awesome as well,
Yeah, they compete a lot. And
they compete everywhere.
Lot, right?
Bro, they compete. It's a wrestling club. It's club wrestling. So just like club baseball, you're going to all these tournaments every week. They're going to tournaments every week. Right. From Dallas, Houston, Oklahoma, everywhere, man. It's crazy. Crazy.
Yeah, DJ is an ex-coworker of mine as well, and we used to talk all the time, and he's very dedicated.
No, he is.
And if you guys want to take up wrestling, man, this is the guy to go to, right? Coach
DJ for sure.
Yeah.
Legacy Wrestling Club, and
Legacy
Wrestling Club. Okay. They work out of our gym. Up there at the Windy every Tuesday and Thursday evenings. They're up there teaching the beginners.
And you expanded that area as well.
Yes, sir. Yeah. We expanded it to get them the more mat space that they needed, because at that time, and they were kids trying to hang off the little fence deal. Hey, Coach Bobby. I was like, man, that fence is about to break, man. Right. Got to back up. So we expanded it out right there. We added a lot more mat space for them, and they're pleased, man.
Yeah,
they love it.
And what about your Muay Thai class?
So we have the Muay Thai kickboxing. We offer that with our MMA program. So that's on Tuesday, Thursdays, or Monday, Wednesday mornings.
Who coaches that?
That we teach you. So I coach that, and then Coach Jay coaches that, and then Coach Drew every once in a while will step in if I need him to, if I'm not in town or whatnot, and then he'll take that class as well. Right. To coach it.
And you have jiu-jitsu as well. Right?
Jiu-jitsu, yes, sir. So we have a kinetic grappling, which is run by Coach Ambrose, and they're up there every day, Monday through Thursday at 6 p.m.
Right. I told Coach Ambrose I want to have him on the podcast because he's aside from being a coach, he's also an author, right?
He's a
writes
book.
books.
He's a book freak. He's into that Dungeon Dragons, the vampire type stuff, man. You know.
Yeah, I gotta get him in.
Yeah, you gotta get me in here, man. He wanted me to read one of his books, but I'm not about that life, you know. So I told him I read it. I said, yeah, I read it. It's a good book, man. I love that book, but I didn't read it, man.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's not gonna know about it.
Yeah, he ain't gonna know about it. Yeah, he ain't gonna. Yes, sir.
So, and then you got the Windy Boxing Club.
Windy Boxing Club.
All right, that's the newest
Addition to the gym. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. And they work up there Monday, Wednesday, Fridays at what day? 6 p.m. And then Coach Drew just started a class on Tuesday, Thursday evenings for the ones that are getting ready to either compete at the next level, and they come up there at 7:15 p.m.
Okay.
You know, so the Windy Box. So it's man, them dudes can jump rope and run, man.
Wow.
They can jump rope, I tell you that, because I watch them jump rope for probably 20, 30 minutes before class. I'm like, man, what the heck? You know?
Yeah, I was there a couple of weeks ago to fill in for Coach Drew because they were at Golden Gloves.
Yep, Golden Gloves right there.
They did real good. But I was there a couple of days filling in, and they have a good group.
Yeah.
And they're eager to learn, and they work hard. So,
oh man, they do work hard.
I went back, and I was like, man, I don't think I'm ready to come back yet.
Right.
Not just yet.
Right.
So I'm resting right now.
Resting, man. Enjoy it, man. Enjoy it.
So,
you know.
Yeah. What else you got coming up? Tell me about the fighters that you got, the guys competing.
So we got man, let me think.
You got Pacheco.
Pacheco's getting ready. Pacheco actually is getting ready. We're fixed to right after this contract, or right after this little interview deal, we're going to go sign his contract. But he's about to make his pro debut May the 31st for the Elevate Fighting Championships. And they're down there in Houston, so he'll be making his pro debut. Kendall's also going to fight on that night as well. So that's two pros right there that are getting ready to fight.
And this is what Kendall's, fifth, sixth fight? How many pro fights does Kendall have?
5 pro fights.
5 pro
3 and 2,
fights.
yeah. Mm-hmm. 3 and 2 with it, yes, sir. And this will be Pacheco's first pro fight.
And when we say Pacheco, we mean John
Pacheco.
Right.
His real name, his government name is Juan Pacheco.
Really?
Yeah, but he hates to be called Juan. I say Juan team. He gets mad. So that's his government name. And I said it anyways. I'm going out if he sees it. Juan, you know.
Juan.
Yep.
Right.
But that's so we got them coming up. And then what else we got? We got a couple guys that are getting ready to make their either amateur debut, or they might have 2 or 3 amateur fights, and they're getting ready to fight right there. Okay. You know?
Right.
So that's going on right now with that. What else we got? Submission Quest is coming up next week, so that'll be at a 3rd floor cantina in downtown Bryan. Okay. And that's all super fights.
All right. What is that about? Tell us the what's going on.
Submission Quest is Submission Quest, which is the pro grappling series. So we got people that are coming from Dallas, Austin, Houston. We have one guy actually coming from Albuquerque, New Mexico, to compete. He's a veteran. He was up on the UFC. Juan Adams is his name. So he's coming down to do it. But it's all submission fighting, you know. So it's they're out there with submission grappling. And they go out there for a certain time period, 5 to 7 minute round. And they go until submission, you know. So they can either get an arm bar, a rear naked choke, guillotine, you know, leg locks, whatever like that. And then if they win that, then they win their purse money right there. So that's why it's pro grappling. Okay. You know, and we have kids from teens and adults as well doing that.
Bobby, how long do you think you'll be coaching?
Man, people always ask me that. You know, my goal, and my daughter might think differently, but I think everyone in life, they're going to get tested at one time in life, either mentally or physically. So my goal is to coach her all the way up through her high school years, you know? And I'm going to coach until I can't coach no more, you know, or until, like, every coach knows when it's like, hey, this is my time, you know? So when I get that feeling that this is my time, then I'll probably just sit back and let someone else take it over. But until then, man, this is all I know how to do. You know, just changing someone's life, man.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do it as long as I can do it.
Yeah. I as people know, I retired a couple of years ago, maybe a year and a half ago.
I remember when we had that conversation, man. I remember we had that conversation. I left there, and I just thought I was like, man, it's because I look up to you still. I still look up to you, you know. But I was like, man, dude, it's like you see that because I looked up to you as a coach, you know, and we might not talk every day,
Right.
but I was like, man, coach is hanging it up, you know. It's like, man, what's next, you know? It's like, am I going to hang it up at that age too, or
Right.
you know, stuff like that. So I still think about that, you know.
It had nothing to do with you know, physical.
Yeah.
Or mental or anything like that. It just got to a point where it was disappointing.
Yeah.
On the way,
Oh,
the whole thing, the whole boxing scene, you know, the whole, you know, parenting.
Yeah,
and
parent,
all
man.
that.
Yeah.
It got to me, and it's like, you know, I don't know if I can continue.
Yeah.
You know,
No, I know,
because these kids are not here for boxing.
Yeah.
And they're not here. They're here for photo opportunities.
Photo opportunity to get on Instagram making a post.
You know, you give it your 100% and you get back 20%, and it's it got to maybe later when I kind of maybe I just needed to step back a little bit.
Yeah.
But I get calls every day, Bob.
I know.
Every day, hey, can you coach my kid? Hey, can you
Coach
do a private? Hey, can you do this? It's like, you know, if I go back and I'm not ready to go back, it could be worse.
Or if you go back and
I'm not saying that I'm 100% done with it.
Yeah.
But as of right now, maybe I just need to step back a little bit.
Yeah.
You think you'll ever get to that point?
I pray I don't, you know, but I know that point's going to come eventually, you know. I pray, and that's why I've kind of opened it up where you have this coach doing that or that coach doing this and that coach doing that. So hopefully that I don't have to get to that point because you were doing everything.
Yeah,
you were doing it all.
I was coaching 3 classes at the same time.
And I used to do that, but I was only at the gym twice a week, you know, Tuesday, Thursdays. And just put myself, man, if I was up there every day, I'd be going crazy, man.
Right. And then weekends travel.
Weekend travel and all that. Right. And it's hard when you have a family because your family's like, well, hey, what about us? Right. You know, because sometimes I'm at the gym from 4:30 to 10:30 at night. And if Drew's at the gym, I might not leave till 11 because we keep talking, realize, man, we're like, man, we got to get out of here, you know?
Right.
So it's I try to keep my wife and my daughter involved as much as I can with the gym, so I don't ever feel that way.
Yeah, you have to balance everything out.
Man, you got to.
I mean, I'm not. I still love it. I still love because when I went over there a couple of days, it's like
I can tell.
When I got in the ring and I started teaching, it's like, oh man, this.
Yeah.
But then you know I get back and it's like, oh man, I got to go home. You know.
Right. Yeah. So family.
I'm. You know, these guys, my boys are growing up now. And they're gonna move on one day, and you know, I gotta still do something.
Yeah. Most definitely.
So you know, you never know. Y'all keep calling. Maybe one day I'll say yes.
There you go, one day. But if you say yes,
so what you got coming up for Wendy? What's the future for Wendy Sports and Fitness and all your programs and all your guys? What's coming up for Bobby Powers and his team?
Keep growing. You know, keep growing. Tough times don't last. Tough people do.
Right.
So that's the mindset that we keep there. I feel like this past year we've been so active. We might not all been on the winning side of it. But we've been so active with it that we're winning. You know, we got the team together. Now we're building all the programs together. Now we got all the coaches that we want. So now it's time to go up that ladder. So I'm hoping that we can come out on top and be victorious in everything, you know? Yeah. Everything with it. Eventually maybe open up a different, like a workout class with it or whatnot, like a CrossFit type deal right there and stuff. And we got the rings going and stuff where we might eventually maybe try to rent out the rings and stuff if people need them up in the future, whatnot like that. So we're trying trying to maximize as much as we can, you know.
You guys got a nice boxing ring.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So,
Yep,
and
yep, yep.
when I had a couple of shows there, you know, the USA boxing people are like, man, this is a good ring.
Yeah.
Man, where'd you get it from?
Right.
Like, that
right.
belongs to Bobby.
Right. Yeah. I came from Thailand, man.
Yeah, Wendy, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, Bobby, I like to take this opportunity to thank you because you know when I was at a different club and they came back and they just raised the rent, you know, big time. It was like, you know, I can't afford it,
Yeah.
unless I raise the prices, and I was always about, you know, trying to help out the community
out,
and the kids.
Most definitely.
And when I lost that spot, you know, you were the first person to say, "Hey, man, why don't you come over here?"
Yes, sir.
You know, and you opened up the doors and you gave me an opportunity to keep that club going.
Yeah.
And you know, I'll never forget that. And I just wanted to tell you, you know, thank you for
welcome.
helping me out and for helping those kids out and that community.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm pretty sure that everybody, you know, that knows you appreciates what you do.
Yes, sir. Most definitely,
And
man.
I want to thank you for having us there and giving us a home when we needed it. And you know, and you know, that's when COVID hit, and it just everything got out of control, and you know, we kind of had to move out. But you know, I never forget that you helped us out. You opened up the doors and you kept us going. So
Yes, sir. Most definitely,
I appreciate that, and I wanted to say thank you.
Well, thank you for that,
So,
man.
Anything you want to add to the podcast before we go? Any message you want to send out to the kids?
Just tough times don't last, tough people do, and begin with the end in mind. So whatever you do, whatever you're going to start with, then have that goal at the end of the mind, like, where am I going to finish at? You know, don't give up. You know, sometimes it gets rough, and sometimes you don't think it's worth it, but keep pushing forward, you know. And it's we run Wendy, and we do as coaches because it's not about the money. Right. You know, it's about helping the next kid get to the next level or changing a life, improving a life. Right. You know, that's what a coach has more impact on people than a regular people will never have. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We reach more people than anything. But man, I appreciate finally being on the podcast. I know it took you forever, you know. Yeah. It took me forever.
I'm here, man.
You're here. You're trying to get me on from day one, but man, I'm glad that I finally came on, you know. Yeah. Glad I'm finally part of it.
Yeah, man. You want to send any shout outs to anybody?
Shout out to Wendy's Sport and Fitness, my wife for putting up with me, you know. Shout out to the boy Drew Lindsay, you know, he's trying his best, man.
Coach Drew Lindsay.
Coach Drew Lindsay, you know. Shout out to Coach DJ. Everyone that's a part of the Wendy family, you know, Coach's wife, Katie Dockery, you know, she's like the mom of the gym, you know. Shout out to Landry. She just won her first state champion as a freshman for Texas High School wrestling. So shout out to everyone, man. Caitlin, the Dockery family, everyone, you know. Wow. Shout out to, I can't pronounce that right there, but.
Desde Cero.
Desde Cero.
Yeah.
Shout out to Desde Cero for having me on here, man. Thank you, Coach.
Absolutely, man. And you know, maybe I'll start going a little more often. Try to you know, get back into rhythm and stuff.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
You know, I want to thank you for being on the podcast, and I want to remind everybody to please subscribe to Desde Cero.
Please,
you know, let's get those subscribers and views and likes and all that, man.
I got you. So I'm gonna share it.
Yeah, share it.
Got you.
Subscribe to it, and Bobby, again, I wanna thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you, sir,
and
man.
I
I
hope to see
appreciate
you
it
again, man. Next time you got something big coming up,
yeah,
you know, come on the podcast and we'll shoot it. We'll let people know.
Yes, sir. Most definitely.
So I want to thank everybody for being here on the podcast. I want to thank Bobby Powers, and I guess we see y'all guys next time. And thank you, Bobby.
Yes, sir. Most definitely. Thank you, sir. Right there.